Yeah, this is a 2-1 matchup.
Should be a good one.
Absolutely. So, yeah, both of these runners more or less came into Final Fantasy Randomizer for this tournament, and both of them have very quickly, you know, proven themselves.
We have Bane, Fast, Sleep 2, and Quad X in black. And it looks like Fuzzy has already changed his party, so maybe he's not danning that black belt at the moment.
No, Fuzzy just...
Heal 2, Fear, Heal, Cure 3.
Yeah, nah, it's one of those things like, you know, he may be waiting to see how the equipment situation's looking up front, because even a level 22 black belt is not the worst thing, especially with that level 1 fast. Falconic, though, I will be surprised if he doesn't dan that black belt.
Well, he bought his fighter an axe and some armor, so he's looking, since he doesn't have any good black magic to start out with, it looks like he might be trying to slap Garland in the lips a couple of times.
Well, you got that fast spell, you got Bane in Emergency, and they do have Quad X. Quad X will take out Garland. You just have to be able to get it off.
Looks like Fuzzy's taking a fight here. He's gonna smoke out some imps from their hidey hole.
Yep, and finish them off with a couple of swings. But yeah, it's one of those things. I will be surprised if the black belt does much more than take dirt naps and occasionally take punches for the party members that matter. People who watched the last Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament might be wondering why we're so disparaging over the legendary One Punch Man from last tournament. And that's because the flags that we are using for at least the Swiss rounds have a much lower XP gain and also much lower enemy stats. And so the black belt is both less imperative and more of a time sink to really get up to the levels where his Fists of Fury are significant.
Imps with some stun touch. And Falconic is the first to make TOF. Let's see, he's going to check the chests first. I like to kill Garland first when I come in, so I have an automatic exit in case the enemies are rough going to the chests.
Yeah, that is not a bad strategy. I know a lot of runners prefer to check these chests because we've seen a Mosmune in this first chest in the lower left-hand corner twice so far in this tournament.
Falconic, ooh, the bridge.
Yeah, that might prove interesting.
But he's poisoned pretty good, so the thing I like about the randomizer is they took the poison sounds out. So not much to write home about in these 3 chests, except for that bridge, because if they don't have a canoe or anything off the first 2, that bridge does give them an option to make the pirates.
Just a correction, the poison sound is still there. I think we're just in the non-poisoned player's ear right now.
That explains a lot.
But that Quad X immediately taking out Garland, and Garland with
Squint! No way!
Saving Fuzzy the trouble of danning the black belt. We'll see if he picks him up.
We have a cube and a loot.
So, there is a non-zero chance, if I understand correctly, that we could be seeing a vanilla ship at Big the Pirate in Provoca. But without a canoe at hand, that is our only option for progress.
And getting 2 key items off the king and the princess means there's not going to be an incentive item in a chest somewhere.
Yeah, I believe so, because, well, that's not true. If the ship is at BK, which, as I understand it, can happen, that would still result in something being pushed to a box. So this is all going to depend on what the pirate has. Normally, in this situation, we've seen him have the canoe, but like I said,
Falconic is going to check out Matoya. Very good using a cabin, so if Matoya doesn't have crap, he can just exit out and go back.
Yeah, it does look like we've got a nice run fairly early on in the rotation, and that is a defense sword at Matoya.
Pretty sure he's not going to be out of that, but he doesn't look like he cured the poison off his character, so...
Well, he may be trying to get that
be a problem.
Also, he may not have been able to afford... Well, no. The only character he has poisoned is the Black Belt. That Black Belt is not long for this world. Looks
like Fuzzy's keeping his alive, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like I said. You want to kind of see how the equipment situation's looking, probably if you're Fuzzymage. Because at level 22, that's where the Black Belt starts to be useful. In terms of in-game stats. So it's one of those things, if you're willing to kind of commit a little bit more to taking fights, getting that EXP, you can use the Black Belt, and it not completely destroy.
Unrunnable mad ponies. This could be dangerous if they have something that's not nice.
Now, it looked like they had something unpolite on Fuzzy's side, and they have rub.
They're rubbing you. Looks like the fighter ate a rub. But Fuzzy's pushing through.
Yeah. It's definitely a situation where, like, I think you just have to try and limp through this Mad Pony encounter set, because it's looking like they're all over the place in these zones.
There goes the Black Belt. He's had the charges on his Black Mage, so this could be a rough go.
Yeah, he's going to reset out of this. It's looking like... So, one of the things that does get shuffled in these flags is what is referred to as the... I'm suddenly drawing a blank. Encounter frequency, which refers to essentially every encounter zone in Final Fantasy has a set number of enemy formations that you will see. And what the randomizer does in these flags is shuffle up the frequency you see these formations. In this case, it's looking like the Mad Ponies are early and often in that encounter table.
And they're rubbing you like nobody's business.
Phrasing. But Fuzzymage manages to quad X his way through a Mad Pony fight, and he's probably... He's probably going to make you provoke it without any trouble. Figured I needed to hold my tongue there for a moment, because we didn't know what the creeps had. But he is getting his fighter picked up and going to crash at the end. I expect we're going to see him dip into the magic shops real quick, just to see if there's a pirate sweeper available.
He's going right for pirates without an AoE. That's an... Oh, he's got Bane. Never mind.
Well,
he's golden.
Yeah, the pirates are safe-ish. I can see him deciding that, you know what, I've got 4 casts of Bane. Not a move I'd expect most runners to make, but... I mean, Fuzzy is no stranger to doing unorthodox things. If we've learned anything in this tournament. Falconic is going to take the more traditional route, and... Yeah, that would have been a waste of his time. He does find Temper, though. Oh, no! Oh, no!
Vanilla ship.
That is a ship at BK the Pirate. That
Crown
means
for sale. Crown for sale. 18K.
That means 2 things. 1, that canoe can be just about anywhere. 2, actually means 3 things. The canoe can be just about anywhere. The floater can be just about anywhere except the Sea Shrine and Mirage Tower and Sky Palace. And 3, there is something floating out there. It could be it could be the canoe, it could be the floater, it could be almost anything. But the TNT is also out there somewhere now.
Yeah, pop grind wouldn't be a bad idea, but I think Fuzzy is going to go down and check the spells in Elfland first.
Yeah, I don't blame him. We still don't have a good AoE sweeper. We may be looking at, like, he may be thinking, well, I'm just going to go ahead and hit Marsh Cave.
Sharks are unrunnable. That could prove costly in the Sea Shrine later on.
Very true, although I don't know if the sharks of the Inner Sea share an encounter, have the same encounter as the sharks you see in Sea Shrine. And since
Sahags with lightning 3.
Okay, that's a little more.
This water's gonna be dangerous. This water's gonna be dangerous.
Well, those are at least normal Sahags and not our Sahags or Wiz Sahags. So that's a little better.
Looks like they're on the same encounter table, so looks to me like Falconic's next fight is going to be those Sahags.
Yeah. So Fuzzy's going to go ahead and go check the Dwarf Cave. And the runners do have a choice. They can either go ahead and grind up and do the crown chain, or they can just say, you know what, my opponent's probably thinking the exact same thing. Let's just go ahead and dive Marsh Cave.
They don't have the crown, do they?
I mean, they need the money for the crown, so their choices are go grind up for the crown. And
there's your money for your crown. There's your money, the katana.
I mean, we've seen some cheap katanas, though. I've seen katana go for as little as 4,000.
Looks like Falconic's going to attempt it and see. Well, meanwhile, Fuzzymage is hooked into some stun wolves here.
Yeah, like that's the thing, is that katana could be the key to getting the crown, or it could be trash. And it is not trash today. Alright. So katana, so crown is on the table. So what we may see,
I believe Falcone is going to go get his crown and do the crown chest. Because there's a bunch of chests you can open, and if something's in a chest, it's got to be the TNT. And if the TNT is key locked, or even if the ruby's key locked, this could be desperate.
Yeah, it's one of those things. We know the ruby, or the TNT, has to be somewhere between Marsh Cave and the key lock chest at this point. We've checked everywhere else that they can access. I guess the canoe could, in theory, be in the key lock chest, and that would get us over to Crescent Lake and Ice Cave. But the point being, they're going to have to do some hunting. And to answer the question in chat, yes, Cyclone did in fact roll this. I offered to roll this. They didn't say they wanted me to roll this. They let Cyclone do this. This is their fault. You should not pity them.
Looks like Falcone picked up some copper bracelets for his 2 mages. It'll offer a little bit of protection in this early part of the game. Meanwhile, Fuzzy is trying to make his way back with the katana.
Yeah, and he should be fine to get there. You know, it looked like there were some friendly encounters once you got past that part of the table. And I'm immediately made a liar.
I think they're gonna have to grind a little, though. I can't see you beating Astos, because he's very resistant to magic. So I'm not sure if Quad X or Bane would work on him.
I think Quad X does connect with him. I don't think the Death Element is one that he resists. And his HP, by default, like, even if he rolls max HP, I think he's still swinging below 300 HP. So, or just above 300 at worst. So you should be able to Quad X him down.
The only thing good in the level 3 magic is Cure 4. The black was pretty useless.
Yeah. To paraphrase a... okay, we do at least have life at level 4. That's something.
There's Nuke and Break at level 4.
So, yeah. So, Nuke, for those of you unfamiliar, is the Flare spell of later Final Fantasies. It is non-elemental and deals a ludicrous amount of damage.
Looks like Fuzzy's buying silver bracelets. Did anybody see how much they were? Oh, we still got enough for his crown. He's good.
Yeah,
he knows
and he's going to go ahead and get a silver sword for his fighter. So, yeah, that is not a bad in terms of defense, in terms of gear. And he still has more than enough money. So, Falconic, I imagine, is going to go ahead and go deal with Astos and start the ball rolling with the crown.
Can't see either of them dipping Marsh. Not until they've checked all the crown lock chests.
I mean, it depends on how much they fear their opponent. Like, Falconic, it looks like, is going ahead, and he has the bearing of someone who is heading for Astos. Fuzzy could make the decision, you know, my opponent's going to do the sensible thing and go get that key. If I dip Marsh and that was the answer, I have an advantage. And Fuzzy's going to do what neither of us expect. He's going to the Peninsula of Power, it looks like.
Not a bad idea. It will give him the levels.
It would probably be a better idea if he... Never mind, he just... he just probably overshot getting out of the ship.
Okay, let's see what Falconic does from here. Yeah, see, he's skipping Marsh. He's not going to bother with Marsh. This could be a mistake, because, you know, I know in my seed yesterday it started out exactly like this, and the TNT was in Marsh.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you know, there's nothing wrong with making that Marsh dive, just because, or holding off on the Marsh dive, because again, you do have those key lock chests in Marsh that you can check once you have the key. And you do have plenty of chests that don't require you to go through the worst place in the game.
Seeing in chat that Fuzzy spent more money and does not have enough for the crowd. So that's why he's doing POP.
Well, it's also one of those things, he may be anticipating the Marsh Cave troll. So he's going ahead, getting some under his belt, getting some money, getting a steak dinner. You know, it's not a bad plan.
I think the steak dinner is going to get him first.
Now, that's just what's going to happen to your black belt early on. And Tyro's rolled high for HP today. Yeah, he's just going to back out of that fight. Probably looking for zombies. I think he has harm 4 on his white mage.
Trying to smoke out some giants.
And giants also look like they've rolled pretty hard. Yeah, Fuzzy has not gone down to Elfland yet, so he doesn't know that there is a nuke available. Although he doesn't quite have the levels to use it yet. Although, that might help a little bit.
Did Falconic wipe or something? Has he gone back into Bido's cabins again?
I was busy paying attention to Fuzzymage's grinding attempts, so I'm not sure. Well, the thing about these flags, to answer the question in chat, they actually roll on a range. So, you can actually have an enemy roll well below their vanilla stats in things like HP. So, throwing the Quad X out there against the Tyro, you know, the Tyro does, I believe, have a chance of rolling low enough to hit 300.
Meanwhile, Falconic has got the Herb, is now heading back.
Yeah, so Falconic's going to be the first one to be able to kind of make the big sweep around. It's going to be a little bit tricky without the canoe, because he's not going to be able to, for instance, just pop into Northwest Castle. He's going to have to decide whether to swing down from Dwarf Cave or swing up from Elfland. He's almost certainly going to go down from Dwarf Cave. But that's going to be a hike back, especially with those wolves with stun.
Well, it all depends what he finds. If he finds TNT and Canoe before, well, he's probably not going to go to Northwest Castle at all.
Well, it's one of those things, that's 2 items that would have to be in a handful of chests. And I mean, Northwest Castle's a handful of chests, but at a certain point, you have to check it. And yeah, there is probably a little bit of noise coming through. I believe both of us are using push-to-talk, so that might be getting a little bit of Discord interference, because Discord sometimes does that. So we apologize for that. In any case, though, Falconic is going to be turning in his herb, get his Mystic Key, and begin his desperate hunt for progression. His fingers crossed for the canoe, I imagine. Because if he finds TNT, that pretty much means that the floater can be anywhere. Because he's almost certain to find the canoe shortly thereafter in one of our incentivized locations, but that just opens up more possibilities for the floater.
Doorhammer, not a bad pickup, though.
And to kind of explain what's going on in terms of what we're looking at, the long story short is, in order to get the airship, which opens up most of the locations of the game that the runners don't have access to, with just the ship and the ability to get the ship out of this Mediterranean-like area they're in. They need two things: the floater and the canoe. The canoe lets them cross river tiles on the overworld, while the floater is the item that activates the airship. Normally, you find at least one of those here in the first few locations of the game. And those locations are what we call incentivized. Essentially, the randomizer favors putting certain items in those locations. In this case, however, none of the incentivized locations they have access to had the canoe or the floater. And so what they're having to do now is hunt through random treasure chests to find either the canoe or the TNT. The TNT is what opens up the rest of the world to the ship, and the canoe would open up locations elsewhere on this continent that are only accessible via river at this point. So, the long and short of it is, both of these runners right now are looking at a situation where they desperately need an item that could be in a lot of places that they have to walk to through an overworld that's not really that friendly.
Looks like Fuzzy is still grinding. He's up to level 8 or 9 now.
Yeah, and he is sitting there anticipating a Marsh Cave dive. I can tell you that. You know, even with ambush rate shuffled, even with unrunnable shuffled, even with script shuffle, no one wants to deal with Marsh Cave, especially when you do not have the warp or exit spells. So it's a situation where you don't really know what you are... Like, Fuzzy is preparing for the worst. He is preparing for a Marsh Cave that's going to throw gobs of enemies that have just terrible things ready to hit him with.
And Falconic is about to clear out the dwarfs here. See what they have see what they're holding behind. A ribbon. There you go.
A ribbon and an ice sword. That is a pretty good pickup.
And a pro cape.
So the pro cape is a shield type item that anyone can equip regardless of class. And the ribbon is a piece of headgear that basically makes you resistant to almost everything.
TNT?
As far as skills and spells.
It's not just you. What they've done is they've actually danned their black belts. It's relatively common in this seed, because for the levels you get, the black belt really does not offer you much. So normally people will just dan them, as they call, and put the experience across all other 3 members.
Exactly. Experience is distributed between all of your party members who are alive at the end of combat. So by leaving one party member dead, Falconic is essentially accelerating his experience gain for the rest of his characters.
Now he's in TOF, checking this out.
And chat noticing that Falconic made it a point to talk to the Hooray Dwarf. I believe that it yeah. Sometimes this game does funny things. It is itself. And ETAP making sure to explain why the term Dan is used, and yeah, it's because the three-man strategy is very common to the 80% record in Final Fantasy 1, I think in a few other categories too. And it is tradition that whatever character you're bumping off, you just name Dan. And yeah, Rock Paper Mario, that's because Final Fantasy 1 is basically an unlicensed D&D game on the NES.
Yeah, and it looks like we will see Marsh after all. I hope it's key-locked at the bottom. Come on, key-locked.
I mean, both of these runners aren't going to go to Marsh Cave without that key. I think you're right at this point. Because if Fuzzymage were going to make that Marsh Cave dive, well, I guess he still has the opportunity to do that. Because he's just now picking up
his crown, and he's getting himself some potions and stuff, so... you know, he might be attempting Marsh first, before he does the crown. Meanwhile, Falconic looks like he's heading for his ship, or he might be going to check the Northwest Castle.
And ETAP is dropping the knowledge there in chat, and evoking the our gracious host here on Speed Gaming, Fiesel, who actually is very well experienced with the Final Fantasy Randomizer. Not Final Fantasy Randomizer, Final Fantasy. I'm sorry. But, in any case, Falconic is probably about to make his Marsh Cave dive, and he is preparing accordingly, because Marsh Cave is a terrible place. So, to explain why Marsh Cave is a terrible place, even when we move all of the nasty things all over the place, the problem in Final Fantasy Randomizer that you run into a lot of times is not necessarily what skills enemies have, but how many enemies there are that have a skill. Because Lit 2 may not necessarily be so bad when you only have, like, 2 or 3 casts of it going at you. But when you have 6 casts of it, it becomes a problem. And that's true of pretty much any skill in the game. You know, you might resist a stun ability most of the time, but if that stun ability is on 3 enemies and they're spamming it, you know, first round, your party's gonna get stun locked. That's what's going to happen. So Marsh Cave has a lot of encounters that have a lot of enemies in them. So if anything bad does get shuffled onto them, which it very well might because there's a good variety of enemies in Marsh Cave too, this becomes an issue.
Looks like Fuzzy will complete his key quest before diving Marsh.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, it's a move, like, if one of these runners felt more heavily the underdog, that's where I think we would have seen the Marsh Cave gamble. And Falconic is making his Northwest Castle check. It looks like he wanted to pair that with when he headed to Marsh Cave.
Good routing by Falconic so far. It's better than making 2 trips. And, ooh, adamant. So if they do ever find a tail, they will have a good sword.
Yeah, that's definitely something you want to see. The adamant is an item that you exchange for the Excalibur, which is the second best weapon the knight can equip. Best weapon if you discount the Mazamune, which everyone can equip.
I love Marsh Cave dives. They're always fun.
Absolutely. So, we do at least have a Thor's Hammer for dipping Marsh, so that is going to help out a little bit, but... so here we go, chat. You are getting what you wanted. And yeah, just to kind of go along with what Max plus Pi just pointed out, the tail could very well be our at-large incentivized item. But I imagine that we will wind up seeing the tail before too long. Since without the class change, you need the Moz Immune. You simply can't equip any weapons that are going to carry you through the end game without the class change if you don't have the Moz Immune. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're basically looking at equipping the Ice Sword onto a character and then buffing them to high water.
We're getting our first look at the top deck of Marsh Cave. Some money. A little more money. Come on, no whammies. Yes, we're diving deeper.
Yeah, we do have the Vorpal Sword available, so at this point...
Trash. Sell it for gold.
I mean, if they had the Moz Immune, yeah, but with the Excalibur in hand, the Vorpal isn't nearly as bad a backup sword. Especially on Chaos, who kind of takes a lot of the teeth out of the Excalibur.
And with no exit or warp, this is going to make the bottom of Marsh Cave very interesting.
Yeah, so far I don't think we've really seen anything too terrible from Marsh Cave, but Marsh Cave...
Haven't seen the wizards yet.
Yeah, and we haven't seen a lot of the lower floor stuff either. Like, Marsh Cave can very easily have some surprises, especially, again, with that frequency shuffle in play. You could see, you know, an encounter you normally wouldn't catch in Marsh Cave pop up 2 or 3 times, and it could have something rude. But here we go.
A good run there, though.
Yeah, and I think we did spot that run earlier when both runners checked Matoya. So there is definitely some friendliness in this table.
We could have a ruby-locked canoe.
Oh, that's evil. That's evil. Because we still haven't found the TNT.
Well, the TNT's gotta be in here.
To answer the question being raised in chat, key items cannot be in Temple of Fiends Revisited. That is a sanity check the developers put in specifically to avoid situations where, you know, you have to check every chest in the game and it turns out the crown was in the chest right before the key lock door. Because in spite of all of the things that they've come up with, like Entrance Shuffle and the alternate final bosses, our dev team does have souls.
Falconic's checking the bottom row. These are the key lock doors that everybody was talking about in Marsh. You need the mystic key to get in these ones. So they rarely get checked. So this is probably one of the rare seeds where you will see them.
Yeah, it is one of those things, one of the options that is not flagged for these seeds in the randomizer can make the chest that Falconic just opened and found the TNT in an incentivized spot.
He's gone.
Well, I mean, that is the question. At this point, you don't have exit or warp. Do you just go ahead and check the rest of these chests because you're already here? And, you know, if your opponent doesn't check that chest early on and find something here, you know, you're at a disadvantage.
I might hit up the wizards, but that would be it. Nope, and he's just going straight out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't a bad play. You know, there's only a handful of chests left. You can probably safely bet your opponent doesn't want to spend more time in Marsh Cave than you do, because, again, no one wants to spend time in Marsh Cave. But if one or the other does opt to back out, you know, this could pose a difficulty.
Meanwhile, Fuzzy's made up some time. He is now dipping Marsh as well, so he's only maybe a couple of minutes behind Falconic.
Yeah, I don't think
and
Fuzzy...
he's got a level advantage over Falconic, so that might come into play as well.
Yeah, I don't think Fuzzy went up to Dwarf Cave. I don't think he has been to TOFR. I think he got his key and went straight to Northwest Castle and Marsh.
This is going to pay off for him.
Yeah, no,
Did he drop the Vorpal and reset?
You realize who is responsible for all the Vorpal memes, right? Besides Czar.
I like Fuzzy. I'm rooting for Fuzzy now.
Yeah, no, one of the first races I commentated, might have been the first one, was Fuzzymage, and that was one of the plays Fuzzy made very early on in his career as a tournament runner, was he found the Vorpal and immediately tossed it.
No, I don't want class change here, unless if he finds the Mazmun, then the class change wouldn't be as important. But I mean, you gotta look, if he finds Dragon Armor, Aegis Shield, you're gonna want a class change.
Yeah, it's one of those things, without Black Belt strats on the table, which definitely isn't on the table for Falconic, still might be an option for Fuzzy. Just because he has been putting experience into his Black Belt. You're looking at a situation where your fighter just does not have a good sword. Like, your best bet is to find a Sun Sword. If you don't have the class change. And at that point, you might as well just dig out the tail, go convert that adamant you found, and go for it.
This seed is playing out like mine and Split's last night. We had Canoe locked. We had Ruby locked Canoe as well. I think Cyclone's gonna lose his privileges soon.
Yeah, so it looks like Fuzzy has opted to dig out the rest of Marsh Cave in case there is something there. Okay, actually I just think he's been down to the keylock chest yet. He's taking the more traditional back and forth going north to south. So, we should see him here in a minute.
The only difference this could make is if this is the Mazmun.
Well, the other difference it's going to make, this actually, Fuzzy does have a little bit better routing plan here. Because he knew that he's looking for the TNT, so he saved the Dwarf Cave for last, on the basis of either he finds the TNT elsewhere and only needs to make the one trip to dig out everything, or he finds the TNT in Dwarf Cave and only needs to make the one trip anyway.
Although the Wizards are giving him the better part of the business at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen. Wizards are not a gimme in this randomizer. They're also decent experience, though, which I think why he's definitely taking that fight. I don't think they were unrunnable.
Well, once they get the Canoe, and I think they both realize that the floater is either Crescent Lake or Ordeals, this will pick up very quickly. I
mean, not necessarily. We have not seen the incentive item yet.
Yeah, they're still gonna go to Ice Cave. There's still a ways to go.
Well, no, I'm saying we have not seen the chest-bound incentive item. The TNT is always going to be in a chest, unless it's at an incentive spot. So, there's still another incentive item that's somewhere out there because the ship was at BK the Pirate. Oh, and Fuzzymage does get rewarded. That is a ribbon. So, this just made things interesting.
So Fuzzy will have 2 ribbons, but Falconic is almost certain to not come back here.
Absolutely. So, that
Advantage
is going to come into play. Because, yeah, the ribbon was in Dwarf Cave, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, it was in the Dwarf chest. So Fuzzy will get that when he turns in his thing. So he'll have 2 ribbons to Falconic's 1. And if they 3-man this, well, one of Falconic's mages could be in a world of hurt if they don't find another ribbon.
Yeah, and Fuzzy's going to check those chests. You have to go down to talk to the dwarf next to that door in order to open the canal, which you just saw Falconic, well, you're going to see him pass under again. Normally, this is just an open space of water, but our dev team has made it so that when you turn the TNT, the piece of land that you cross becomes a bridge that you can pass under or continue to walk over, just to keep you from getting soft-locked on one side of the southern continent or the other.
Not much good in level 5. Well, Exfer and Heal 3. It could come in handy.
Yeah, both of those are pretty good. And Fuzzymage finds his TNT as Falconic finds Quack and Ice 3.
Ice 2.
Quake, I'd say, or Ice 2, you're right. I'd say Quake is probably the better pickup of the two, just because Earth Resistance,
Cheap
not
pro
super
rings.
common.
Ding, 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 ding.
Nice. Yeah, and Fuchsia raising a good point in chat. That loose item, because of the ship, is also a factor. And let's see, I think we found the ruby on... No? Yeah, we did. That's
yeah, they
right.
both
That
got
was
ruby, and they both got TNT now, so... Fuzzy should be on his way out.
Cyclone asking the important question, has this been a fairly linear vanilla path so far? And... yeah, more or less. We've had to go check the keylock chests. Well, we didn't have to, but it's a good thing they did. They had to dive Marsh in order to acquire what they needed to get out of the Inner Sea. And Falconic has gone over to Melmond. Now,
looks like Swamp hasn't been too bad this time. I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, it's still one of those things. It's the threat that still makes it a problem, especially because we didn't have any real good sweeping spells. And Shadows with Stinger is annoying.
Especially if they get the jump on you.
So Falconic's going to go ahead, talk to the Titan, feed the Titan. Everyone is happy the Titan got fed. He's going to check these chests, then he's going to go talk to Sarda. And yeah, I do keep forgetting the nuke is at level 4, because level 4 is kind of that first level where it's just like, you're not going to get as many charges of it as you really want, especially with only one black magic caster. So, nuke is less of a, go-to sweeper, and more of a, well, if I need to clear a group, I have the nuke, but it's kind of not something I can just throw around willy-nilly.
That come into play around, I guess Final Fantasy 6 or 7, Fuchsia? Because Final Fantasy 5, as always... 4 has always been like Fire 3. Yeah, maybe 4, I guess.
That was Rock Paper Mario who was asking about when the spell 2 and 3. And the thing is I think the naming convention fixed itself up what was different in Japan. But, yeah, the numbering thing didn't change until, I think, Final Fantasy 7 or 8.
I don't count anything above 5.
Falconic may eventually make it to the Great Sage Sarda. Someday. But Fuzzymage has made his way to the Dwarf Cave. He is going to talk to a different dwarf than everyone else likes. But he's going to go get his turn into Narek. And then he is going to be on his merry way once he checks these keylock chests.
Did Falconic turn in the Adamant? I don't think he did he?
No, I think he did. Our tracker is showing that he did talk to the blacksmith. But there's the ribbon for Fuzzymage, so... he is up 2 ribbons, and with 3 party members... Alright, we have our floater, but here's the million-gill question. Where is the canoe?
It's in a chest. Now, Falconic skipped some chests in Swamp. What's gonna be going through his head right now?
See, here's the thing, too. There are chests in Earth Cave he can check. He doesn't have the rod, so that's not really in play. Actually, hold on. Canoe's got to be in Earth Cave. He can't get to Castle Ordeals because he doesn't have the canoe, or the floater, or the airship. It can't be in the Waterfall Cave because he doesn't have the canoe.
We know all that, but
it can't be in Honorak because we already know what the vendor item is. The only two places that can be is the Earth Cave and the Marsh Cave. He's probably going to go Earth Cave first because he's right next to it. Ah, Len the Cat with a point. I forgot about the crescent, the circle of crescent sages. I forgot that is also an option.
Hopefully. I think that's where Fuzzymage might go next. Because neither of them have checked out Crescent yet, so it would be a good idea.
Of course, they could also have the rod and open up the chest at the bottom of Earth Cave. So... Can
you imagine the canoe being behind a vampire, or...
So, we are in a situation where, yeah, Falconic has to make the call. Does he go ahead and dip Earth, counting on the canoe being that loose incentive item, or does he make the long voyage over to Crescent Lake, banking on being able to get the canoe from the Sage? Or alternatively, that the Sage has the rod and the canoe is below the vampire floor. Like, this is a dangerous call here, because you have to be trying to think also what your opponent's going to do.
Looks like Falconic is heading for the Sages.
Yeah, this is the conservative play, I think. Because either you're hoping, because either the Sage has the progression you need to get that canoe, or has the canoe.
Come on, have the rod.
Oh, if he has the rod, then I'm telling him, like, you can tattle on me for wishing the ship on them, but I'm tattling on the Sage having the rod on you.
I'll take that. I can beat a monster for once. I wonder if Fuzzy is gonna check. Oh, yeah, he's gonna go check for his floater first. He's gonna take a look at the level 5 spells, and he's got gold, so he's probably gonna purchase some.
Yeah, that early grind is helping him out in regard to having the money to make some acquisitions.
So right now, Falconic has a progress lead, but Fuzzy has him beat in levels.
Yeah, and that might also influence Fuzzy's decision-making. He knows that he can just punch through Earth Cave, and if it's the correct gamble, then he's out ahead. But, again, I think it's going to come down to which of these runners... like, if either of these runners takes a chance, the other doesn't, that could lead to a very interesting shift.
Fuzzy going for a little stroll there. And the moment of truth is pretty close at hand, folks. What do you think, floater or rod?
I'm going to be honest, I am kind of pulling for the rod. I want to see a forced Earth Cave dip just to continue this.
The canoe is here. It's Vanilla Canoe. Fade at level 6.
And Ruse, which is less important since we do have the defense already. And
there's
level
some
6
warp. Do you want to have a blast of that before you dip the ice cave, though? Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun! Canoe!
Alright, so we do have an airship, Vanilla Canoe.
So this seed has just turned out from a long go to let's go.
I mean, we still have to find that loose item. Unless it's the tail and they find the Mosmian.
But with the airship, there's the Sardia checks you can do. You can get everywhere quicker. So this is really going to open up the seed. Be nice if the item was down below the Lich Stone and they found the... Or they find the rod in like some obscure chest or something. Looks like Falconic's taking some EXPs here. Get himself a little bit of levels.
Yeah, not a bad plan. You know, the Peds are generally a winnable fight if you have at least something to hit them with. Like Nuke. But yeah, Fuzzymage definitely... Well, actually Falconic, with only having 3 party members, has closed the gap with the experience a good bit.
Yeah, I've noticed that. He's level 11. And he's going for ordeals right away. This is the smart play. Because on chance, this is going to be easier than the ice cave is. We all know how the ice cave turns out.
And the waterfall cave, for that matter. Like, it's a good chest density without necessarily putting yourself at too much risk.
Yeah, but with no exit or warp, I'd be a little fuzzy on the volcano, on the waterfall.
Yeah, it's a situation where you're looking at, you know, a long slog through enemies that are definitely on the higher end. And Fuzzymage is going to make the same conservative call. He's going to go ahead and go check that incentive spot.
So basically, they're probably maybe 3 minutes behind each other at this point in time.
Well,
Fuzzy's
I'd say
3 minutes behind Falconic.
I'd say that's a good estimate. And so, yeah, we'll see where he decides to go once he has the airship, because he may opt to take a different route. The volcano's right there. It's got a lot of chests. He's, you know, been doing the experience grind. He may opt to go ahead and go hit up Ice Cave. It's not a call most runners would make, but it is on the table.
Looks like these Spinks are pretty tough, and they're coming up quite a bit.
Yeah, and again, that is one of the kind of, I feel like, less celebrated elements of these Swiss flags, is you have, you know, these encounters that you don't expect popping up out of the blue.
And we'll see how Falconic fares out without warp on these pillars.
Yeah, so for those of you familiar with vanilla Final Fantasy, there is, you know, a set pattern to this pillar maze of teleporters. That's something that gets shuffled in this game, in these flags. So, Falconic is actually going to have to solve this maze instead of go down to win.
Yep, and one wrong step can take you back to the very beginning. And the good thing with warp is, if you take a wrong pillar and you use warp, it warps you back to the pillar you just took. So you could save yourself a lot of time if you have warp in here.
Mm-hmm. Especially if it's like, you know, one pillar takes you back to the beginning, the other takes it to the end.
Fuzzy's about to get his canoe, which should make him happy. He's head bonking the trees first, though.
Well, you know, you gotta make sure that none of your Pokemon are gonna fall out. Wrong game?
You could catch these enemies, I guess.
Well,
Final Fantasy V has a Beastmaster that can catch enemies.
Yeah, I mean, also there was that whole Final Fantasy Monster Hunter idea that got bandied about during the League, which, you know, that's something that will probably come up at some point just as an exhibition match.
Ooh, that pillar took him back.
Yeah.
Now does he remember what pillars he took? Ooh. Sorcerers with Death Touch, just like vanilla.
Yeah, but usually the sorcerer takes a little time before he reaches out and touches somebody.
Not this time.
Yeah, and that is the danger of script shuffle, where enemies that were somewhat benign before become a problem.
And looks like Fuzzy is dipping the volcano.
And Falconic is just going to reset out and try again. So yeah, it is a situation, though, where Fuzzymage is, you know, he's looking to improve his equipment situation. And probably also thinking that if that tail is the loose item, you know, the sooner he can get that Excalibur into his knight's hands, the happier he'll probably be.
Yeah, there's a good density of chests in the volcano. Plus, he's got the levels just to go down and kill Carrie while he's here. So I like this play. It'll save him some time in the long run.
Yeah, that second ice sword would be nice to have if he brought along the best class, but, you know, it is what it is.
Falconic going through the pillars again.
So yeah, Falconic's dance strats have definitely overcome the grind deficit with Fuzzymage.
Oh, back to the beginning again.
Of course, that might not matter if Falconic can never
He's
find
taking
his way out of this
the pillar
labyrinth.
right there. He's got to take the other pillar in that room.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I always try to take, like, the same pillar every time I come to one of these forks.
Oh, he makes her. And then Nightmares decide to poison him.
Yep. Fortunately, Nightmare's not a problem to get away from.
Ooh, red coil's unrunnable. That's never a good sign.
I mean,
This
yeah.
could be bad.
I mean, it depends on what the Argoyles get, and, you know,
Goodbye,
they're only
fighter.
really...
Goodbye, Black
Oh.
Mage. Goodbye. Falconic takes a wipe. At least he knows what pillars to go through now, so...
Yeah, but you're still having to deal with those sorcerers, and that death touch is coming up pretty early. So Fuzzymage finishes sacking the armor, and he's gonna go deeper. Not gonna bother walking any of that out. He didn't really find anything too strong. Just a ludicrous pile of money.
Medusa's unrunnable, Red Gargoyle's unrunnable. Things with death touch. This ordeal isn't a very friendly place today.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, at least it feels like a test of courage. I mean, if this doesn't deserve a Fred, it at least deserves a Cyclone. Chat commenting on how much vanilla we've seen in this seed, up to and including the Death Touch sorcerers.
Well, if the tail isn't here, then we're really going vanilla.
If the tail is in here, Fuzzymage may not get it. Like, it's one of those things, if he finds everything else and takes a peek in here and discovers how rude it is, he may just be like, you know what? I've got an ice sword, I've got plenty of magic at my disposal, I'm just gonna go for it.
And with the 2 ribbons, too, he's got good protection. Some whiz mummies, a lot of whiz mummies. Oh, my bad, the sprites have been changed.
Yeah, Falconic taking advantage of the palette swap option for the randomizer, which also has been throwing me off because the sorcerers look like wizards.
And Fuzzy is skipping that tile, the trap tile in this room that I normally step on because I don't think about it walking in.
And I think we've had a meme sword sighting somewhere.
Flame armor, that's gonna help him. Lets him give the opal bracelet to one of his mages. So he's pretty good for armor on his mages. He's got pro capes, he's got ribbons if he chooses to, so...
Did he actually reopen the flame box to get the
He
flame
did.
box out? Okay.
At least I think he did.
For his sake, I hope he did.
Looks like the Agamas have rolled under 300. That could make them grindable.
is
third
there's our
ribbon.
third ribbon.
And Falconic finds the slab.
Yeah. Now the thing is, that is the Agaba room chest you're going to check, and it's on the way. So Falconic would have to be in full-on go mode to miss that. So he at least is going to get a second ribbon, most likely.
If you look at it now, so where is Falconic going to go next? Looks like Fuzzy is going to check the Red Dragon chest.
Yeah.
He's got his black belt alive now. Seems like...
No, Fuzzy's
Like
never damned
11
his black
up?
belt.
Oh, just his hit points are low. Never mind.
Yeah, no, Fuzzymage has kept his black belt up. And, you know, it may be a situation where he is thinking, if he doesn't find good enough gear, you know, having that black belt at a point where you can very quickly intensify him using late-game encounters.
Falconic is out of ordeals, and we'll see where he decides to go from here.
I feel like
Ice Cave is the play now.
it depends on what he's looking for.
Well, he
'Cause
doesn't
he
have the
has-
rod, so he's not going to go back to Earth. I don't think they have the bottle. So,
Yeah. He may opt to go ahead and
Would
do
be
the
the play.
slab chain. Because he's got the cube, he's got the slab, but he... Alright, you called it. He's heading to Ice Cave, it looks like.
well, that's the next incentivized place that is actually easily accessible. It looks like Carrie's not causing much trouble for Fuzzy at the moment. Tempering up that fighter with the ice sword.
And as you say
Blackmage
that...
takes a super shot, but still standing. The little yellow hat's hiding, but it looks like Edward. I half expect to see him run off the screen. Bye,
and,
Dem.
Yeah, Them is going to take a dirt nap.
And Fuzzy lights our first orb at 1 hour and 1 minute, folks.
Question in chat, any trolley enemies so far? Try sorcerers with death touch and a punch first policy.
Yeah, there's been a couple of funky enemies going on here. Wolves with stun touch. Somebody had rub.
Apparently we just had cockatrices with blaze show up.
Looks like Falconic is going to check this mage chest. Hopefully the mages don't have anything nasty. And we're eating steaks tonight, folks, on Fuzzy's side.
Now he's at least going to take another revenge shot at the Tyro after, you know, Tyro took him out before.
He's a little better geared now, though. He shouldn't have much of an issue.
There we go. It took the fighter getting a swing in to get that quad X to connect.
Fuzzy's heading for ordeals now. Picking up his slab. If he can make it through. Meanwhile, Falconic has started the ice cave, and he's on the bottom floor. So we'll see if he checks any chests. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry about that, had to sneeze and decided to spare chat's ears. But yeah, just to confirm what's already been said in chat. Falconic is opting to leave his black belt down because he can get more experience on his other 3 party members, and the black belt is not worth nearly as much in these flags.
And Fuzzy might be behind right now, but the great equalizer is yet to come.
That being the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
That can take a 20-minute lead and turn it into a 10-minute loss.
And has several times in this tournament already.
Runners go in at the same time, and one doesn't finish.
Yeah, so far not really too much here in Ice Cave from what I've seen.
No, enemies are pretty decent, and not much for gear either.
Yeah, about the only thing that's going to be of value is either you get the tail out of here, and then you can start throwing on that in-game gear where you can. Or you find progression that you have to have anyway, but overall, yeah, Ice Cave, you know, if Fuzzymage comes through and go modes it, it's probably fine.
Yeah, and Falconic does have this routed very nicely so far. Looks like Fuzzy's having a little trouble with the pillars. Ooh, and that's a big group of goils.
Well, we already saw from Falconic's trip through that this pillar maze is not trivial. And Falconic digging out these free chests. Now, these are the ones, if Fuzzy winds up go-moding through Ice Cave, these are the 5 chests I expect we're going to see him pick up. These 2 here, and then the 3 on the other side of the room. They're not too far out of your way to grab, and, you know, you might pick up an extra fight checking them.
He might dip the 6 down below, too.
He might. I have seen runners opt to check those 6 and then these 5, but...
The dragon armor.
Dragon armor.
So the tail has just become important.
So, for the unaware, the dragon armor is a piece of armor that protects you from the fire, lightning, and ice elements. When combined with an Aegis shield and a pro ring, it assures that your knight is protected from 5 of the 8 elements in this game. And pretty much all of the instant death spells.
Now see, Fuzzy doesn't really need that. He could go with Opal since he has 3 ribbons. So if he doesn't get the class change, it will not make as big a difference for him as it will for Falconic.
Well, you can't put the Opal on a fighter. The Opal's knight only. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so it's a situation where, yeah, like, that dragon armor plus the Excalibur makes the class change look very valuable. But we still have not seen the tail.
Fuzzy's having an awful time with these pillars.
Yeah, it looks like he's having about the same issue that Falconic was having, so, it's one of those things that's probably going to wind up being a push. And to just divert for a moment to address the observation chat, Octopath Traveler is coming out for the Switch in a few weeks, and if you haven't tried the demo yet, it is available. And yeah, from what I've seen of it, it is going to be a really good game. While I'm plugging folks, though, if you're watching this and haven't already followed our runners, you might as well. They are having to deal with the most obnoxious thing you can see in a randomizer, and that is a vanilla progression. But on top of that, they are also putting on a very good show. They're demonstrating how you handle a seed that kind of forces you to walk in a line and doesn't make it easy. And if you're following folks, you should also consider throwing a follow to the Randomania family of channels. That's Randomania, where you are now, as well as Randomania 2, Randomania 3, and Randomania 4.
We're speed gaming.
We're speed gaming. I'm sorry, I've done a lot of these races and I forget where we are. So you should follow Speed Gaming, Speed Gaming 2, Speed Gaming 3, and Speed Gaming 4. Thank you, Canuck, for reminding me who I'm supposed to be plugging right now. But still,
You can follow Randomania, because a lot of our matches do fall on the Randomania channels.
I am not a smart man.
I wouldn't go that far. Maybe you're right.
But yeah, long story short, just follow people at random.
Follow everything you can. Just anything you come across, follow. And
yeah,
Fuzzy's
don't actually
finally made it
do
through
that.
the pillars.
But yeah, Fuzzymage makes it through the pillars and is well on his way.
I like
Tail
that,
was not
Will.
in Ordeals. We found the bottle in the Castle of Ordeals. Tail is still at large.
Speed Gaming 8 Diocho. Tail is... yeah. Tail's at large. What else? The rod is still at large too, which is really going to put Earth out of the picture for now.
Yeah, that very well could be buried somewhere in Sky Castle. Yeah, with that at-large item, it really is going to be interesting to see what calls our runners make in terms of where to dig.
Ooh, Mancat's bringing the heat.
I mean, that's what Mancats do.
Yeah, Waterfall is the only incentivized location we have left that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
So one item is still in a box somewhere.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, you know, I don't know, how would you feel at this point, Canuck? You've got the rod and
bad
the
that
tail.
hyenas have nuke. Fuzzy never knew that, but...
yeah, so... Falconic.
And now to answer your question,
pickle.
at this point in time, I'd try to do all the incentivized locations first, because then you know what you're missing, and if it would be, say, the tail, then you know it's not overly important for you. You could actually then go through your progression, and if you come across it, you'd be okay.
Well, see, the nuke the hyenas also nuked the rest of my question, which was, are you going to be hoping for the rod or the tail at Waterfall?
I'd want the rod, for sure. Because if you get the tail, then you have to search every chest till you find that rod. If you get the rod, and say you find a Mazmun with 3 ribbons, I'd be half tempted to say, tail can take a flying you-know-what, and I'd go.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, is if you have the tail in hand, yes, you still have to dig up the rod, but you know you have your in-game equipment already. Whereas if you find the rod, now you're digging for in-game equipment anyway.
Yeah, I mean, both are viable strategies. It just shows how different a player we are. See, that's why you're good, and I'm not good.
I mean, you're actually in this tournament, and I'm the guy who talks over the tournament and plugs the wrong channel.
Yeah, I'm in this tournament, but it's looking pretty dicey now. I gotta win my next one.
Yeah, that's still 2 more wins than I have.
And here's the Agamas. Now, these don't have much as we know, so Falconic might pull off a little grind.
I don't think he is. At this point, he's getting pretty good. He's already level 17. He's going to get the experience he needs without needing to stop. He might take an extra Agama fight just cuz.
I would say Falconic does have a slight edge at the moment, just because Fuzzy has to check more. But with TOFR looming, this is still anybody's race.
I mean, Fuzzy's checked pretty much everything Falconic has at this point. He's got his, he did get his bottle, right? Yeah, he got his bottle.
I don't know if Fuzzy did, actually.
He opened the chest. He was fighting, zombie dragons. I don't think they had anything to hold him up. So he should have gotten his bottle.
Slab was an ordeal.
Slab. I'm glad you're here to keep me honest tonight, Canuck. I am obviously not on my A game. I might not even be on my B game.
Because I think the bottle was an ice cave.
It
where
was.
Fuzzy has not been yet.
Yeah, you're right. You are right.
Fuzzy's translating his slab, and you learn a new language in 2.2 seconds. Hooked on phonics worked for me.
No, so yeah, Fuzzy still needs to go dip Ice Cave and get that bottle out. Which the level 6 warp may incline him to hold off on that. Except he's flying straight to Ice Cave, so never mind.
Well, it's his next play, right? It's his next incentivized location, so it's a good way to play it.
Yeah,
you want to check, like I said, you want to check all the incentivized locations. Then if you're missing the tail, and you've got good enough equipment, well, you know, you might just say, go mode, we're going.
Yeah. But
without
I mean,
the
yeah.
rod, you're stuck. You still have to dive chests.
Yeah, it's also one of those things where with the bottle, well, with the two incentive locations left being Waterfall and Ice Cave, you know, I'm sure his thinking was, if Bottle's at Waterfall, I'm going to have to double dip on rack anyway. If Bottle's at Ice Cave, then I can combine Waterfall and on rack into one trip.
And Falconic is taking on Carrie at the moment. Doesn't look like he'll have much trouble with this fight. Carrie with Poison Touch. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like, Carrie can sometimes pull out a surprise or two. She's generally not that big a problem, but sometimes she is.
Now, let's look at it this way. I got a question for you. Falconic just lit his first orb at an hour 15. Would you feel desperately behind, even though the way this seed rolled?
Let's see here. Knowing where things were, I think I might feel a little bit behind because, alright, I can safely assume up until TNT, I'd probably be with my opponent. You know, they'd have to make a really desperate gamble to have gone straight to keylocked Marsh after getting the key. Which Fuzzy basically did do that. But he did stop and grind as well, so there's that. Now, the flip side to it is, I know that I went and did a bunch of stuff before I went over to Crescent Lake, which is where my progression turned out to be. If my opponent went to Crescent Lake, then, you know, he had the airship probably a good 5-6 minutes before I did. And that's enough time to have, you know, gotten a little bit better luck in the pillar maze, going through ordeals, or, you know, gone ahead and dove ice and found out that the bottle was there, and maybe my opponent's already at mermaids. So it's a situation where I don't think Falconic feels desperately behind, but I think he is definitely thinking, you know, in the back of his head at least, all right, what could Fuzzy have routed differently?
A yes or no would have sufficed.
Okay, what were we going to talk about? Falconic taking the 10 minutes it takes to walk through Gaia to get your Oxy Ale?
It's fun to pick on you, Woat.
That's what I'm here for.
Man, we gotta have some comedy banter. We can't just call a race.
That's what I'm here for.
Looks like Falconic is going down to get his chime.
Yeah.
He got his Oxy Ale in the chime. Now, do you think he's gonna dive air before he does waterfall? What would you do in this situation? Because you're already here at the Sky Tower.
I feel like Sky Tower may be the stronger play, because you know you don't really have much in the way of teleportation spells. And walking out of the mermaids is never fun. Whereas you can check Sky Castle on your way up, you can kind of go ahead and get those levels you need for endgame. Just taking fights on the way up. It's, you know, it's a little bit better. You know you still have that progression outstanding. I'm feeling the Sky check this time.
Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah, no, that's probably the play I'd make as well. You're already here. There's no sense coming back afterwards, so... We finally agree on something.
Which means we're both going to be wrong, because I think I'm, you know, have an absolutely terrible record of predicting what runners are going to do.
Looks like Fuzzy is making his way through ice, but you are correct on Falconic's side.
Alright!
I don't like those anklos.
The anklos are the R anklos, because no one likes the R anklos.
In vanilla, they hit like semis. And we have a pro ring? Useless.
Yeah, those cheap pro rings make finding pro rings in the wild just kind of a... Oh. Okay, then. Right.
We have some poison going on. While Fuzzy is wrapping up his ice cave journey.
Yeah, he will be glad to see that dragon armor, because with all 3 ribbons in hand and all 4 party members up, he actually can get pretty good coverage across the board for the end game.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely he can have all his characters good against everything but, you know, the nuke and the nuclear. Looks like Falconic didn't find much on the first floor, so he's heading back in.
And zap. Yeah, I mean, there are a few spells the fighter's not going to be safe from, but, you know, you put the ribbon on him for Fiend fights, otherwise you just let him roll.
Yeah, you hope the Black Belt takes the bad stuff on the Fiends. No, Will, Falconic does not have an advantage because he has the Vorpal.
And that's Will Cleosis we're addressing, not Will Bloodworth, he of the Let's Do a Solo Thief. But either way, we got Fuzzy going ahead and collecting his chime. So he may be thinking the same thing Falconic is of, you know, we still need to check chests. I've got the levels to survive. Let's just go ahead and go where the most chests outstanding are.
Yeah, I agree. This is a pretty tight race at the moment. And if the tracker would like to change our floaters to airships?
That's not available here on Speed Gaming.
My bad. My bad. Nuking some chimeras or chimera or whatever you call them. Question in chat. Falconic has basically won now, right? No. See, in this game there is this big equalizer called TOFR, and it's never over till you're finished that.
I mean, I think they're referring to the fact that Falconic didn't throw away his Vorpal sword.
Well, I'm going for Fuzzy, because Fuzzy ditched his, right? I'm not Team Vorpal.
Yeah, I seem to keep commentating with people who aren't Team Vorpal. I need to do a pro Vorpal commentary sometime. But yeah, so Falconic's still trying to get to the so-called greater than less than chests here on Mirage 2. He is not in a fun part of the encounter table, and I think he's also taking a few fights just to kind of keep that
his Oxyale
XP motion in place.
Is he going to hit up Sky Castle, or is he going to go... No, he is heading towards the waterfall. So he is going to check the last incentivized location, which will tell him if he needs to bother digging further for chests.
And
or he can make that call when he finds it. Oh, now right now, the tail... If Fuzzy picks up that Mazmun, the tail might be a mute point for him.
Yeah, that's very true, but with going to Waterfall, that's not going to happen until after Kraken is dead and buried, until we get to the Temple of Fiends. Because Fuzzy, I cannot imagine, is going to duck out of the on-rack region to go turn in that tail or use the rod.
And Falconic pieced out of the Sky Castle after checking the first 2 floors, and is heading for the waterfall.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things, like you just said, if Rod is here, he has Mozimmune, he is go mode.
Yeah, exactly, right? The tail is pretty much circumstantial. If the tail is here, buckle up, folks. It could be a long one.
Yeah, because that rod will be almost anywhere, and there's only a handful of chests it blocks.
The rod could be behind the vampire, for all we know.
Yeah, it could be in that ruby chest, which is going to be the last one I think either of them are going to check. Like, I can see Falconic going ahead and double-checking Marsh Cave before he goes back.
I'm on Team Red Mage, if that team exists.
It totally exists. We even have shirts. And fancy hats.
Falconic is making his way through the waterfall, not having much trouble, neither is Fuzzy. Seems like a pretty easy waterfall so far.
Which is a change from most of these seeds. Like, Waterfall has generally been kind of a nasty dungeon.
OOB? OOB? Falconic is not Team OOB. And for the record, Out of Bounds Bat is what I am talking about.
Yeah,
yes, Emery, I am Team Mazmune as well.
Yeah. To explain, there are bats that can spawn outside of the map you can visit, and occasionally we spot one of them here in this room.
And we have a high five between our opponents. And it's the tail. Oh,
alright.
boy.
So,
strap in, folks.
Somewhere in the sky, somewhere in the ocean, possibly in some dank cave that smells vaguely like old man, and possibly mothballs, there is a rod. They need that rod. Oh, I guess neither of them been to the Cardia Isles, have they?
No, I believe Fuzzy was. Or were they? You know, I don't... That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think either of them actually went to the Cardia Isles because they didn't have the tail, so both of them routed to not have it. So Rod could be with the dragons.
Well, I think we're going to find out in a minute because no, Falconic is going into sewer.
But not Fuzzy. He is probably going to go turn in that tail and check those chests because he probably just had the same thought.
It's okay, Will. It's okay. He'll save. And I guess you were correct. They didn't check the aisles. If the rod is here, this is big advantage for Fuzzy.
Yeah. Did Fuzzy reset out of Waterfall, or did he walk out the tail?
He warped out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did pick up warp.
He does have warp.
Ooh,
there's
we do
the
have
Sun
Sword, but that's going to be next to useless.
No, I believe the red mage can use the Sun Sword. Without the class change. Oh, never mind. Yeah. I'm worse than you now.
I think we are about equal.
And there's the unrunnable Wizard's a Hag, Red's a Hag fight.
Yeah.
Why'd you say the flag for that never changed? Because there's something with the pirates, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically the way it works is every unrunnable encounter has an A side and a B side. Which basically just means you have two encounters that share the unrunnable flag between them. For the most part, the unrunnables in vanilla are basically each other's A and B sides, I believe is how it works, and then most of the boss fights are each other's A and B sides. Or I might be getting flipped around, and it's, you know, some A sides are paired with bosses on the B side, and some bosses are paired with B sides.
That became giving Fuzzy the go about.
The point being, though, your encounter, the unrunnable encounters have to be paired up. The Red Sahag, Wizard Sahag fight in the Sea Shrine is paired up with the pirate fight that gets you BK's item. And
looks like Falconic isn't checking the mermaid still.
Yeah. Now, he'll probably go back after he clears out Kraken. But the development team more or less decided that the A and B sides, or that the pirates needed to stay unrunnable, and so their partner is also unrunnable.
Well, there was probably no need to take the unrunnable flag off the pirates, as that is the only place you see them, and you have to fight them.
Fuchsia Fantasy correcting me in chat, the Fiends and Chaos are their own encounter, they do not have B-sides, so they just get to be unrunnable. But yeah, the long and short of it is, because the pirates are always going to be unrunnable, though the Sahag group is always going to be unrunnable.
Looks like Fuzzy is heading back into the water.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad choice. He is probably gonna want he's probably gonna want a little more experience before tackling Sky Castle. You know, get that black belt a little more dangerous before, or master now. And he might be contemplating the mermaid check.
More unrunnable Sahags, but with a Thor's hammer and a good swinger, it's not much of an issue.
Question in chat, if Fuzzy slapped the Sun Sword onto his knight instead of an Excalibur, we'll probably find out at some point.
I couldn't see him doing that, but... he bought Fog, too.
I mean, let's see, have we actually seen Invis 2?
No, but we did see the white shirt in the Cardi Isles, so...
Yeah, so it's one of those things, having that Fog 2 handy is nice.
So he does have the evasion on the white mage. And Fuzzymage is now into the drink.
Alright, chat reminding us we did see Invis 2 fairly early on, so... Fog 2 is just a nice spell to have when you run out of Invis 2 charges or trying to conserve them, but still feel like bolstering your defense. Falconic, meanwhile, is going to keep taking fights down here, just to kind of get his experience up.
Looks like Fuzzy is making a play for the mermaids first.
Yeah,
Joker's with ladies.
Yeah, the Joker Poogle mermaids. It's definitely a situation where, yeah, this is not a terrible idea.
Well, Beetle, this is a long seed because everything was pretty well vanilla. Everything was hidden. Like, this is one of the rare long seeds you'll see. Unless TOFR turns into a total poop show, then this could be 3 hours.
Why would you say that out loud?
Say what? Poop?
No, the Temple of Fiends being absolutely terrible. Like, you just jinxed us.
You do know what the record is for this weekend, right? Have we seen a good TOFR this weekend?
The one I rolled was alright.
I think the rod should be right behind the vampire. Because it's the last place they're gonna look. And it's only the last place they're gonna look, because once you find it, you don't look anymore.
I mean, honestly, if it is in the ruby chest, that rod is going to be in the last chest they open. Not because it's the last, they find it and they stop looking, but because they will have opened every other chest they have access to.
The R stands for revisited, because to Joey, you go in first to beat Garland, but then you have to go back in to fight the 4 fiends again. So that's why they call it revisited.
And we just shortened it to TOFR because Temple of Fiends Revisited is a mouthful.
And I agree with Fuchsia, he skipped a lot of chests down here. If the rod is in one of them, this could be very bad for Falconic. Fuchsia, they did not find it. The loose item is the rod at the moment.
It's one of those things, though, where this is probably one of the later points in a game where I've seen the loose item still in play. I hope that Falconic didn't forget he hasn't found the rod.
Well, if he gets down to the vampire and goes into his item menu... Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
Let me see if Falconic taking on Kraken now.
The other possibility, too, once he found that TNT, he may have forgotten that the TNT is almost never going... the TNT being in a chest is the norm. It being at a incentivized location is unusual.
And Obi-Wan just became Obi-Not.
Yeah, but he was put out front for that purpose. Yeah, it's one of those things, the likelihood of a party member being hit is related to where they are in the order. So, you put your valuable party members at the back, where until everyone else is dead, there's a 12.5% chance that they're going to be targeted.
Mermaids see no rod.
your black mage or whoever take a punch to the teeth.
Fuzzy is thoroughly checking every chest as he should. And if he finds the rod, Falconic's gonna feel pretty bad.
Yeah, now, if he does find the rod up in here, the bright side is, this is... Oh, but we have a power gauntlet.
We have a power bonk. Now, what the power bonk is the power gauntlet. If you use it as an item in battle, it casts a saber on the guy who uses it, strengthening his weapon very much. So with just a fast and a couple of power bonks, Temper is pretty much a moot point.
Yeah, but Temper is also nice for boosting things even farther, and Falconic leaving the mermaids behind. I actually am worrying now, Canuck. I think he may be assuming that he's either going to find the rod and taking that gamble, which means he might feel behind, or he may just not remember he still has that item outstanding.
Well, lucky for him, so far we haven't seen it. Ooh, the Aegis Shield. That's gonna help Let a lot.
So, Fuzzy
right now, if Fuzzy finds that rod, he is complete go.
Yeah, there's nothing else he could want except possibly the Mausoleum, but with Power Bonk and Fast, Excalibur's good enough. You don't need to dig for Mausoleum. He might still, because I assume, based on his search patterns, he's going to Mirage after this.
Well, Falconic is now checking the Isles, so he'll find his white shirt as well. So I have a feeling he'll be class changing soon as well.
Yeah, chat questioning if Fuzzy also missed a chest down there near Mermaids. And the answer is, I'm not sure because I'm bad, and I don't know where all the chests are. But
it looks like I watched Fuzzy. He got them all. He didn't miss any.
All right. So yeah, what probably happened is he grabbed that on the way down to Mermaids, and then just didn't need to worry about it coming out of Mermaids because he knew he was going to need to walk out anyway.
And it looked like Fuzzy didn't realize that this was an unrunnable battle. But he's got himself righted now.
Well, you do that thing where you kind of let muscle memory take control, and then you have to nuke a bunch of snakes.
And Demarine, I think at this point in time, I think I'd half agree with you. I think I would dive Earth.
I mean, it worked for Demarine, which is the main reason she's suggesting that you do that.
What do you need a rod for anyway? Just smash the plate with your head.
I mean, you have a loot. Loots can remove stone plates. Excuse me.
Now, on Falconic's side as well, he's missed chests in Marsh too. So that could be in the back of his mind, being like, uh-oh.
Yeah, Falconic has left a lot of loose squares so far. Like, that's the other reason I'm really starting to think he may not remember he doesn't have the rod. Like, there is taking risks, and then there is basically just daring fate. And Falconic's very heavily in the just daring fate category.
I mean, it is going to pay off for him, because we know that it's not at the Mermaid, so... But I don't know if it was just a guess by him, a lucky guess, or...
Yeah, but here's the thing. If it turns out that he did forget about the rod, and not having it, and he gets to that plate, he's suddenly going to have to figure out, well, where in the world do I start looking, because I ran past a lot of things.
I have a feeling it's going to be in Earth, though. But will he check all the chests in Earth is a different story, too.
Well, the bright side is, the chests that are accessible without the rod in Earth are generally fairly easy to get to, so he should not have too much trouble checking those.
Falconic has got his Opal Cheerio, so he is in white clothes, so he's in good shape. I'd say both of these runners are go now, if they can find that rod. That's all they're missing.
Yeah, no, I don't think either runner is going to sit there and go, well, I want to keep digging, which, both of their cases, it's a good position to be in. Falconic has a slightly better sword, but Fuzzy... Alright, Falconic is going back to the mermaids, it looks like. So, Fuzzy does know he's missing that rod.
Falconic knows.
Falconic knows he's missing that rod. I don't know what is up with my brain tonight. I think I just need to get more sleep.
Well, Falconic's going to be disappointed in the mermaids. Yeah, it is a time loss, Fuchsia, so he's got to be thinking to himself now. Like, both of these runners got to be thinking, an hour 40, and they're missing something? They got to be thinking, well, maybe the other guys found it. Now I got to take chances.
Yeah, that is something else I'm noticing. There's a lot of unrunnable fights here in the Sea Shrine. Which, I know at least a couple of them are going to pay us another visit when we get to the water floor in Temple of Fiends Revisited.
But with all the weapons they have, it's more just a waste of time than it is an issue.
Yeah, but in Temple of Fiends, every fight you have to take is a waste of resources you really can't afford to spare.
Now this is a chest Falconic skipped as well.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Come on, Rod. In Rod we trust. No, I pretty much guarantee it's in Earth. Falconic's gonna check all the mermaids. And this is where we'll see if Fuzzy did miss a chest. I don't think he did, but... Mermaids packing a tent. They must have been going camping. Oh, she's blocking him in. She likes him. So, now, is he gonna go the other way?
It's a question. See, I'm wondering if maybe Falconic opened his item menu and noticed the lack of Rod. I'd love to ask him about that, because he did pick a strange set of chests to skip and then double back for.
But he did find his power box, so... Ooh,
yeah, so
Kraken's got some absorb.
Yeah, this does shift the offensive advantage back toward Falconic now with Bonk and Mazza. Fuzzy still has the defensive advantage, though, with that third ribbon, although very slight.
Kraken's got some good absorb, though. He's eating those Mazboon shots like a boss. Or Excalibur shots.
Yeah, which is very interesting, because Excalibur should be giving a little bit extra pain to Kraken, but I think Fuzzy might be a little bit behind in levels just because he's been leveling these 4 characters, and not really stopping to grind or anything. He's been moving through about as fast as Falconic.
Looks like Falconic's gonna finish off his air cave. He had the Sun Sword on, not the Excalibur. Well, that explains everything.
Yeah, that is a curious decision by Fuzzymage, and one that...
I think it was just a mistake on his point.
Well, hopefully he notices at some point.
He didn't, he just equipped it. He just equipped the Excalibur. That's how I knew he didn't have the Excalibur on.
Alright, yeah, that does explain a lot. Fuchsia, Falconic has already checked all of the chests in Mirage Tower. That's where he found the Mazboon, so he's just heading straight into Sky Castle.
Yeah, Falconic did check the first 2 floors already, so...
And it looks like Fuzzy is also going to head in. He's going to be a little bit behind Falconic because he still needs to check all these Mirage Tower chests.
Fuzzy's making some stakes again.
Okay, yeah, that Excalibur makes a big difference.
Just a little bit. Oh my god, another unrunnable.
So why is the rod and the tail so important? So there is a tile in the Earth Dungeon, which neither runner has dipped into yet, that you can only bypass by using the rod from your inventory. And so you must possess the rod to get that tile out of the way, because you have to kill the boss Lich at the bottom of the Earth Dungeon, and the rod blocks you from getting to it. The tail is less important. It's just required for class changing.
It just allows your characters to use the better weapons and armor. Like, if you don't class change, the fighter, who is now a knight, he wouldn't be able to use the dragon armor, the Aegis shield, the Excalibur. So basically the tail just allows you to use the better weapons and armor you get.
It also gives him access to... It also improves spell access for most of your characters. The
Correct.
fighter's upgraded form gets access to some low-level white magic. Upgraded white and black mages get stronger spells. Falconic is checking chests here, so he is back to looking for the rod. And Artie Platypus bringing up an excellent point in chat. Fuzzy could strap that Mazamune onto the black belt and use the Excalibur on his knight. It's not a strategy you see a lot of in this tournament, but it's one I personally like when I'm playing.
And the thief will get a few low black level spells when he changes into his ninja.
Yeah, there are no thieves here though, so it's less of an issue. Fuzzy is just going to go... No, wait, is he? He is putting it on the white mage.
I can see that, because the white mage... But I still think I'd rip the Mazmun on the fighter with the power bonk fast. Yeah, that's the answer right there. And we got a black shirt.
I mean, it's one of those things, you can't, like, the Maza gives you, if you have the Maza and the Excalibur, you can generally, you know, instead of pumping out 400 to 500 damage on your fighter, you know, you can get 600 or 700 damage by just having 2 people swinging endgame swords.
These runners are now neck and neck, pretty much. It's all about finding the rod. They got the same dungeons done. They're in the same floor, almost.
Let's take a moment to appreciate someone actually having to dig out Sky Castle 2, the thing nobody likes to do.
No, I don't know if Falconic dug the whole second floor, though. I think he's just going for the bulk chests.
No, I think I saw him check it in at one of the single chests. Like, if he ran south on Sky 1, he's going to check the individual chests here on Sky 2.
Well, close to an hour 50 and, still no rod.
Yeah, I am definitely on Team Thief with you, Will Bloodworth. Like, I like having a thief in my party. They can theoretically make up for a lack of power bonk if Saber rolls nicely, and they just generally, you know, they look cool, they can run away from things. I like that. Also, my fiance appreciates it when I name my thief after her.
Yes, Beetle. The rod could be in any chest because one of the items they got in the incentivized locations was not required. So they have to dive every single chest. And right now it's looking like it might be an Earth.
I mean,
because Falconic is running out of chests.
I mean, there's still more chests, I think, here in Sky that he hasn't looked in than there are in all of Earth. So, Sky is still technically the right play. Now, the question I think after this is, does Falconic go back to Marsh Cave before diving Earth?
He might, and if he remembers, there's still a chest. Did he go back down to Sea Shrine to get those bottom chests?
He did not.
If he doesn't find the rod in here, he's going to have a big decision to make.
Yeah, he's got the levels, though. He's skipping the last 10 chests on this floor.
I like that, Will. I would rather swing one of those grocery store divider things at the checkout.
Alright, point of order. At the point where you have enough bonks on you, the grocery store divider is good enough. But yeah, Falconic opting not to finish digging out Sky, so... yeah, where does he go? Does he just count on the Earth Cave troll? Does he think, oh god, it was in Marsh Cave and Fuzzymage has had the rod for the last hour and a half?
Or Sea Shrine, even.
Yeah, he could go back to Sea Shrine. It's...
okay, folks, get out your war mech hype. Pray for unrunnable war mechs. Doesn't get any better than that.
Does Falconic... is he... okay, there he is. I was worried there for a second that he might have forgotten that this is not a Sky Force shuffle. Oh, okay. I didn't catch that he'd already cleared the 3rd floor. Thank you, Fuchsia. But, yeah, we still have to figure out, is he going Marsh, Sea, or Earth?
Because, I mean, if he takes the chance and dives Earth, and it's not there, that is going to be a huge, huge time loss. And right now, Fuzzymage, once he's done here, will have the knowledge that it is in the Earth Cave. So he's going to go there right away. This could be a very big game changer right here.
To answer the question in chat, how long is this run going to be? Normally, these races are finished by now with these flags. This seed has just been particularly long. We're probably looking at, what, another 30 minutes, if assuming TOFR plays nice.
Yeah, if TOFR starts to play not nice, you might as well get the popcorn and the sleeping bags, because this could be a while.
Question in chat, why do the upgraded characters look different between the two runners? The starting characters also look a little bit different between the two. One of the things that a lot of runners, myself included, like to do is use tools designed to modify Final Fantasy to create specialized ROMs that have different character sprites. Falconic is actually playing with the Final Fantasy III sprites, you know, kind of using classes equivalent to the upgraded classes from Final Fantasy I. Fuzzymage is running just the standard Final Fantasy I sprites. If you watch more of these races, you might also see some players running with sprites that had been redone to present as females. And that is just a choice. That is a mod pack known as Valkyries of Light, put together by our community member Terralyn.
Team Steak.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. Other players will just straight up make their own sprites and stick them in.
No, Silonich, they already know what the item was in the shops, so there won't be two. So, it's in Earth. There's no other place for it to be. We've seen every chest in the game except for the Earth ones.
So yeah, at this point, if Falconic goes to Earth and Fuzzy doesn't, then... well, no, Fuzzy's going to go to Earth. He knows that it can't be in any other chest.
Yeah, Fuzzy knows where the rod is right now. He knows it's in Earth. Falconic has skipped chests, so, but he's going for Earth from the looks of things here.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's gonna do the volcano.
He skipped a few chests in Volcano. That was among the ones that he just ran past. So if he's dipping dungeons he's already been to...
There's a good chance he's not going Earth.
Yeah, he could go to sea. He might go to Marsh. He is probably thinking right now, Fuzzy found the rod in one of those chests I didn't check. You know, Fuzzy didn't go Earth Cave first. Soric, what you're saying, they do always skip that chest because they open it later. The way that Final Fantasy handles chest locations, essentially, some chests are technically the same chests. Those are referred to as linked chests. So the one that they didn't open in Ordeals is not actually one they skipped. It's actually, I believe, the far left chest in that row of 4, right before you get to the throne chest in Ordeals.
Advantage Fuzzy.
Yeah, because Fuzzy is going to go to Earth. He knows that he's opened everything else in the game at this point.
That's why you put the Mazmoon on the White Mage, to give you that extra pop. Where is... Oh yeah,
he's
Fuzzy
going
is
to
heading
Earth
to
Cave.
Earth.
He's just,
well, he knows.
Just taking the weird route.
Yeah, Fuzzy knows the rod is in here, so right now this is a big advantage for Fuzzy, especially if Falconic decides to go re-dip the shrine. The only good thing is he gets his 3rd ribbon.
So, Fuzzy has taken the lead with that play.
This turned Falconic's lead into a I'm behind.
Yeah, and the thing is, this could take him a little while to sort out, depending on how long it takes him to decide, I'm just going to live with my decision, and I'm going to go Earth. Yeah, Falconic did not clean out Marsh Cave. Fuzzy was the one who cleaned out Marsh Cave. Falconic found the TNT in the lower left-hand corner pretty much right away, and he just got out.
Yeah, and he skipped Sea Shrine chests. So, right now, he's got to be a little worried. But I think he's heading for Earth, so I think he might be okay. He's taking the gamble.
So, well, I mean, it's less of a gamble. He's just got to commit at this point. If Rod was anywhere else, he knows he's already lost. But it isn't. It's top 4 of Earth.
Go.
So, just so it's clear, if Demarine had been running this seed, she probably would have finished, like, half an hour ago.
So we have a race, folks. Fuzzymage is now ahead by probably 25 seconds, 30 seconds.
Was that also where you found the bottle in that one seed? I think it was. So yeah, Demarine had a seed where the bottle was, I think, actually in that same chest.
And Falconic is going to breathe a huge sigh of relief when he finds the rod.
But yeah, I think he realized once he dug out that spot in Volcano that if Rod is in Marsh Cave or Sea Shrine, he's already lost. Because his opponent probably didn't skip that chest. Rod was in the one of the Earth-guarded chests on the first floor of Earth, Will Bloodworth.
So we're 2 hours in and we're finally in go mode.
Yeah, we are.
And now we'll see how TOFR goes.
Oh, God.
This still could be a long ways to go, folks.
In case you're wondering why we're looking ahead to TOFR, Earth's not going to have anything. We've seen most of the nasty stuff enemies can have already. Lich is going to be a joke because Lich is always a joke. The only question is how many fights the runners get into on the way down to punching Lich in the face.
And how many wipes TOFR brings.
Yeah, that's the thing, is Earth at this point, Earth Cave is a non-factor. TOFR is going to be what sets these two apart. Max Plus Pi making an interesting point. If they just stuck with the vanilla the seed was sending them on, they would have been fine.
Now see, I might have been okay, because when I'm down the lower, I tend to go to Earth, even if I don't have the rod, just for a quick check.
And that was the vampire, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed. Not even checking the ruby chest. Fuzzymage is in total go mode.
There's nothing else he needs. He's got the dragon, he's got the Aegis, he's got Tree Ribbons, he's got the Mesmone, he's got Vorpal, got the... What else could he be looking for?
I mean, it's still the principle of the thing. You know, you'll usually see runners just poke their nose in it because they, you know, it's just polite. But Fuzzy, knowing absolutely he is done, isn't even going to take the 2 extra steps to look in that chest.
And Fuzzy is first to reach Lich, and will have his 4th orb lit in short succession. Unless Lich pulls off the impossible. Nope.
Lich was not going to pull off the impossible. Don't get the people's hopes up.
Lich 2 could.
Lich 2 is not going to pull off the impossible. Do not get the people's hopes up.
Oh, come on. You know you want to see a rough TOFR. At least 1 white for each.
Okay, I think we have fully demonstrated that I do not have enough brain power left to be... I have no business sitting in the commentary seat right now with the amount of thought I have left. I am a babbling mess. This seed needs to end.
Well, he's picking up spells for his fighter, and I believe he will be going in ASAP. Because he might feel he's behind, too. He might figure that Falconic got the rod an hour ago.
I mean, that's the thing with these seeds, is you just have to assume at all times your opponent made the good decision, you did not.
If you smell what the Lich is cooking.
And our audio switches over to Fuzzymage, as he is the first of our runners to enter the Temple of Fiends Revisited at 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Wowzers.
Yeah, no, if this Temple of Fiends throws up any sort of resistance, then the race that's coming up after this one's gonna probably need to wait a little bit. Which, speaking of which, if you have been enjoying this Final Fantasy Randomizer, there is another one coming. Like, we have another seed here on Speed Gaming immediately after this one. And, let me see who it is real quick while Fuzzymage starts making his way down here. Ah, it's going to be DD Gaming's versus Solaris Drix. That should be a very fun one.
Looks like Fuzzy's taking this Gas Dragon fight. He might feel his levels are a little low, and Gas Dragons are a rich, rich source of experience.
Yeah, it's one of those things, TOFR is the best place to grind in the game. So if you can take fights there, then you might as well. Falconic has lit his 4th orb, so he will be right behind Fuzzymage. He might also stop to stock up on fighter spells, though, first.
Badman ambush could be a rough time. You get ambushed by Badman, you're gonna have a bad time.
I mean, just because they come in numbers. Fortunately, they're not packing the nuke this time. It is bad. No, it's Evilmen who... I don't know who has the nuke. I'm bad
well,
at this game.
They split the wig of the black belt pretty good. Or the master, so to speak.
A master only in your own mind.
And we'll see if I can't see Fuzzy checking the validation chests, but I've been wrong most of this seed, so we'll see.
Oh no, if he skipped on the Ruby chest, he's not even gonna bother.
Looks like Falconic is about to enter, at 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 10 seconds.
Yeah, so Fuzzy with about a 2-minute head start on Falconic diving this Temple of Fiends.
So right now,
Yeah,
this is
so-
anybody's race. Oh, you don't have to be right next there to use the loot?
Yeah, it's one of those
Now
things,
that-
as soon as he did it, that was like, oh yeah, that's totally a thing. But either way,
If these fiends pose any sort of problem for Fuzzy, this could be Falconic's race.
you mean Falconic? Falconic, just pulled ahead.
He must have got a hero's run.
Yeah, Fuzzy, I think, taking those couple extra encounters, that was enough to get Falconic in the lead. And you know, both of these runners are just sitting there going, he checked the top floor of Earth Cave first. He had to have. No one would have not checked Earth Cave until the very last thing.
They were perfectly synced up till Fuzzy got that fight. And now the dreaded Earth floor.
And there's that
Lich
big
pull
hero
out
one
first round nuclear.
run we spotted before.
Falconic's the first to engage Lich. Fuzzy's having a rough time with the encounters at the moment. Ah, Lich just attacks. I don't understand the power bonk. You should be strong enough to take Lich out just attacking.
Yeah, y'all are making a good point that they know that the other runner probably didn't check the rod until late.
And for the record, folks, this was explained earlier to us that they were both going to double dip Lich.
Yeah, so the 4 Fiends in the Temple of Fiends Revisited are spike tiles, just like every other spike tile in the game. And what a spike tile is essentially a precursor to the monster in a box. Certain chests, as you probably have noticed throughout the seed, have a forced encounter in front of them. And so that includes the Temple of Fiends refights with the Fiends.
Maybe Max, but they had discussed this at the beginning of the match with us, that they were going to do this.
Yeah, both of them agreed to it, and as you see, they are both gentlemen of the highest order.
Now, you won't see it on Kraken at Tiamat, but...
Yeah. But yeah, they had this gentleman's agreement the entire, going into this, and they are effectively neck and neck.
Pshaw, stop with ribbons. Oh, this is like even Steven, folks.
I don't know if I've mentioned this to this point, but I was looking forward to commentating with you because I absolutely love your accent. And I feel the need to point this out because everyone should appreciate your accent.
Unrunnable waters. Well, well, well. This
Did we even
floor
see
just got
that?
special. Doesn't take rocket appliances to know that this is a close match.
So yeah, Fuzzymage gets through his water encounter first and immediately draw... Well, we'll see where they are. Okay, they are basically in the same phase of the encounter table. Because that's 2 unrunnable water formations in a row, and Fuzzymage drawing the bigger group.
And Fuzzymage is running out of nuke charges.
Well, with that level 5 nuke, that's gonna happen. I'd say it's probably well spent. The faster you get through these encounters, the better off you are. You have the Power Bonk, you have the Mazamune. You're not looking at Nuke to carry you through these fights.
And a little known fact is that these waters, even though they're in the Sea Shrine, they are weak to ice, not lightning.
While it is true that groups 1 and 3 are both common, you have to bear in mind the encounter frequency shuffle is in effect. So, you know, what they're seeing is after the encounter groups have been scrambled around in terms of commonality.
The Black Search, which casts ice 2 or 3, I believe, is a really good play against them. And notice both players are hugging the bottom of the wall when they go through doors. It's because the bottom tiles of every room, you cannot get encounters on them. Nor do they increment your step count.
Yeah, Fuchsia agreeing there. I was about to point out they're not on the same cycle. It's just that the waters on this floor just got put everywhere.
At least they're not hitting like they normally do. I've seen waters hit me for 300 and 400.
Yeah, so this gets back to a point I was going to make earlier. Even if both runners can safely assume that, you know, the other guy didn't necessarily check that rod chest early on, they could still be sitting there thinking, he found the rod well before I did, he's got more intel on this Temple of Fiends, and it's just rough.
Alright, let's see what the Gatekeeper has in store tonight.
Oh, Fuzzymage did not move his knight to the back of the pack.
Nor did he completely heal his master.
He may just be going for straight up,
Well, Bane, that's not bad. His ribbons will help him, and the black belt isn't exactly useful anyway.
Yeah, he may just be going all-out offense, like just thinking, I've just got to kill Kraken as fast as possible.
Nuclear!
That level 23 situation he is in, saving him right there. Wisely healing his life caster, knowing that he's probably going to drop Kraken with that next swing.
Now Falconic is going to... Oh, another unrunnable water. Fuzzymage is definitely in the lead.
So we know one of the nuclears is out of the pool.
And he didn't heal before going into Tiamat. He must be rushing.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things he has to know either his opponent got into TOFR around the same time he did, or his opponent got into TOFR before he did and is currently, you know, somewhere right nearby trying to get back down to where he wiped.
And Falconic now will hopefully engage Tiamat. Or Kraken. Tiamat throwing out an ice 2, which is paltry for Fuzzy at the time.
Here's the problem Falconic might have. That Black Mage is not surviving nuclear. Falconic's not overly concerned about the Black Mage's survival, but like, that Black Mage is going down as soon as Kraken decides a nuclear is in... Oh, no!
There goes the White Mage. This could be bad, and Fuzzy is making his way towards the Chaos floor. Now, Falconic is wondering about a reset, because he has no life, right?
Well,
when there's... Oh, when the Black Mage survived a nuclear.
Yeah, a lucky low roll on nuclear saving that black mage.
And Fuzzy is about to engage Chaos at the 2-hour and 14-minute mark.
Yeah, Falconic is essentially sitting there thinking... What Falconic's probably thinking is if he wanted to cast with his black mage or go for the YOLO Bane strat.
Did he just drop the Masmon?
I wasn't looking.
I believe he did. Off the white mage.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Fuzzymage. Fuzzymage does memes. Fuzzymage does a lot of memes.
But he knew his white mage really wasn't doing much anyway, so...
Yeah, but I'm just saying, this is what Fuzzymage does.
Chaos with a nice 3, not much to worry about there.
And getting that
He's
wall
got all his
up,
defenses up now.
Yeah, wall in this game effectively treats your character like they have a ribbon for the duration of a battle.
Unless Chaos pulls out something really wacky, I think we may have a winner.
There's plenty of wackiness that Chaos can still pull out. It is by no means over.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
There we go.
Fuzzy.
With an official SRL time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 36 seconds, Fuzzymage is the winner of this seed.
See if we can get Fuzzy in here to talk about this train wreck of a seed here.
Yeah, we probably will not have too terribly long because we are going to need to get our second race of the evening up and going soon. At least our second race here on Speed Gaming, but I imagine we have a few minutes, and I'm sure that we'll get a heads up.
Falconic pulling out the poison smoke strats, boys and girls.
There we go.
Fuzzy.
Oh, and Fuzzymage has our stream pulled up, it sounds like. 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 36 seconds. So we might need to get our audio moved over.
See if we can get Fuzzy in here to talk about this train wreck of a seed here.
Yeah, we probably will not have too terribly long because we are going to need to get our second race of the evening up and going soon. At least our second race here on Speed Gaming, but I imagine we have a few minutes, and I'm sure that we'll get a heads up.
And Falconic has engaged Chaos, who looks kind of like a cross-dresser, maybe?
I would say more of just like, you know, one of those models wearing a lot of latex paint.
And the Black Mage takes a shot. Big time.
And it is all on this hero night, though. We know that this Chaos did not have a lot of health, did not have a lot of defense going for him, and Falconic has already defense sorted up the night, so he just needs to
Powerbonk and Masmun. I'd say he's got it in the bag. We've seen just really low spells off of Chaos. I guess Fuzzy's not joining us in the commentary?
He's probably waiting until Falconic finishes. But you know, that should be any moment now. We know that this Chaos didn't have enough oomph to take out a determined enough fighter.
Falconic's gonna one-shot him here.
Oh, almost certainly. If not one shot, then two shot, because that was 1100. And there's enough to finish the fight.
GG to Falconic.
That is Fuzzymage. GG Fuzzy. Falconic finishing with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 20 seconds.
So what do you think about that, Fuzzy?
It was a good seed. It was fun. It was a search for the rod.
I can't believe y'all let Cyclone roll your seed.
I can't. I was looking for some fun. I called for it. I wanted it.
At what point, is there a point that you ever thought, okay, maybe Falconic dove Earth first? This is emergency situation?
When I spent, what, 40 minutes in Castle of Ordeals doing the teleport room? Oh! Yeah.
Falconic... Go ahead.
So yeah, that was always in the back of my mind. It was like, did he pull the early Earth? But I don't think he's one of those guys that will go do something unless he knows he can fully complete it. So I was banking on that.
Speaking of Falconic, GG to you as well. You are not the only one who suffered in that pillar maze.
Yeah, that seed can go can kick rocks. That sucked. GG. Yeah, I died to vanilla sorcerers, and then I forgot my ribbon and volcano, so I had to go back for that. And I'm still confused as how Rod wasn't in an incentivized location because we didn't get bridge or ship from. Oh no, actually I take that back. We got a ship from Bicky, so that explains why Rod was pushed. I was so confused.
Yeah, I apologize. I may or may not have been hoping for that as soon as y'all didn't get the canoe from the Royals.
Yeah, in a key lock TNT. Yeah, this was just a disgusting seed. Fights every 2 or 3 steps, unrunnables. That water flow at the end. I think I spent 10 minutes.
Y'all both did. It was.
You mean the XP
hilarious.
floor?
Oh, I didn't need XP. Screw XP. That.
Well, let's put it this way. When you guys, you both took down Kraken at the exact same time.
Kraken 1 or Kraken 2?
Kraken 2.
Oh wow.
Did he happen to get an extra fight like I did before I got to the staircase?
You got like 7. You got like so many bad fights on that floor. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah, every single fight on that floor was either unrunnable waters or it was the unrunnable troll and snakes. It's horrible.
So do you guys want to realize what chat realized? If one of you had just said, you know, this seed has been more or less vanilla so far in terms of the routing, I should just go to Earth Cave. You probably would have finished this seed like 40 minutes ago.
Maybe. I mean, if I would have made the realization that I literally just made 2 minutes ago that because Bicky gave the ship that pushed an incentivized item out, maybe, but I don't like going Earth unless I can clear it.
Yeah.
What are the chances? That's why I went back and did mermaids, and I'm glad I did. I found the power bonk, but I didn't find the rod that I was hoping to get. I didn't find it in Cardi Isles, so...
Yeah, we were a little concerned there, or I was concerned for a little bit, Falconic, that you had forgotten that you were still looking for one of the progression items.
Oh no, I knew. That's why I didn't touch Earth Cave until the very, very end there.
I was kind of scared because you missed a few chests in Marsh too.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the TNT and I didn't have warp or exit, I just got the heck out of there. I was still like level 8 or so. I was not feeling very comfortable. Had I had warp or exit, I'd have stayed, but...
I gotta ask you, Falconic, did you grind for the crown, or did you,
No, I didn't. I went to Dwarf Cave just in case there was something good in the 2 chests, and there was a full-price katana for sale.
Yeah. See, I ground for the crown before I went and dove Marsh, because I was afraid of something being in the Keylock Marsh, which it was TNT, wasn't it? Or was it the Ruby?
It was
TNT. TNT was locked and Ruby was not.
It was in the incentive chest in Marsh at that, the lower incentive chest in Marsh. But just to take a moment, thanks to DeFerret60 for the 8 months of subscription to Speed Gaming.
Man.
But yeah.
Man. If I wouldn't have forgotten that ribbon and volcano and gone back for that, that was about 2 or 3 minutes there. So very, very close race. I knew Fuzzy was going to put up a race. He's a newbie just like I am, but puts up great time. So 2 and 2, got 1 more to go.
I'm sorry for your bracket now. That 2 and 2 is that's going to be cutthroat.
Psh, I ain't stuck with them. They're stuck with me.
I mean, 3-1 is not a much happier place to be. But we are getting the signal to wrap. But Fuzzy, I do want to point out that everyone appreciated you throwing away both the Vorpal and the Mosmune.
Yes.
Wait, what? That's not smart. That's just stupid.
It's Fuzzy.
So.
All right. So I guess we'll wrap it up for. Well, you can wrap it up. I have to sneeze.
Okay, that works for me. So, y'all make sure to follow these 2 runners. Falconic FF and Fuzzymage are both very good at what they do. If you're not following the Speed Gaming stations, feel free to do so. You should definitely remember it's the Speed Gaming Network, because I'm never going to forget that again. And, you know, thanks to our restreamer, thanks to our tracker Tyrannex, and enjoy the following race. I think they're also letting Cyclone roll that one against what is probably everyone's better judgment.
Oh
but,
my God.
You know, no matter what, this should be a fun thing. So stick around. I know I am.
And follow everybody you can.
Yep. Take care, everyone. And we'll see you on the flip side. Okay, Cyclone's not rolling their seed, so this may still be very entertaining because I think everyone at this point just rolls trolley seeds. So, anyway, we'll see you all around, everyone. Take care.
Vorpal.